Ladies and gentlemen of the TLC Chatterhead Nation, I am your host once again, Zero, with the other side of the mic. Tonight, my special guest is Chris Shern from Kissing Castles production. Everyone, please give him a warm round of applause. Also, live streamers, if you're watching, feel free to drop comments and ask. Chris, welcome to the stage. How's your evening going?
What's up, man? I'm doing good. How you doing?
It's Wednesday, and had work today, work yesterday, took off Monday.
Yeah.
And it's raining, so I'll be outside in that tomorrow probably. So this is my little time away from all of that.
Cool.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Chris Shern. I'm a horror filmmaker, a DIY horror filmmaker. Also a musician. I'm in a band called Invisible Cartoons. Um, I'm a singer, and I like creating. I'm a creative person. I've been doing the movie thing like more intensely since around 2018. Put out my first feature film called Evil Lurks, which is playing on Tubi TV, so you can watch it for free. So now I'm working on my next feature film, which is called Vic Effects. And and then I'm working with my band, and we putting out our next album in 2025. So trying to get things rolling in 2024 and end this year out, and then get things really rolling in 2025. We're releasing music and movies.
Okay, I'll say I didn't know you were in a band. If I had known that, I'd been like, send over some tracks, we would have played them and
Oh,
everything like that. Damn. All
yeah,
right, next time for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
But the fun part about this podcast is yes, it's tied in with Tables, Liars, and Chatter, which is primarily wrestling based. I've had indie wrestlers on here, and I've had musicians. I've had people involved with production. So you kind of, you fit the bill just fine. So now at that point, it's like, oh, we can talk about music and production.
yeah.
All right.
We talk about wrestling too.
Let's go. We got a fun packed show ahead of us. All right. So on that point, with you being the guest and everything, which topic would you like to talk about first?
We talk about the movie stuff. That's
Okay.
good.
I'm curious to hear about it because I know our mutual friend Roy tagged you when I was looking for guests and everything like that. And I saw him mention Vic Effects, which I didn't know if it was like an effect pedal company. I didn't know if it was special effects. I didn't know if it was a movie. I did not know what was going on at that point. So please share what you can about your next project.
So this movie is called Vic Effects, and big shout out to Roy, who's also assistant producer of the film. So he's helping out when he can to pump the movie out there. So he helped me out with this situation. So Vic Effects is about a Foley artist named Victoria Paulette. So people call her Vic. So if people don't know what a Foley artist is, it's someone who creates sound effects in real time with video games, movies, commercials, whatever that provides. So that's been that art form's been around forever, and they still do that. Sometimes they'll use digital, libraries to do sound effects, but you still have people in a studio watching the movie and creating the sound effects. So I used to dabble. I dabble in doing Foley work and stuff for like small, low budget, not independent films here and there and stuff like that. So when I was doing a project doing sound effects, it just the idea kind of came to my head because you don't really see a lot of movies based on like creating sound effects. And and the person who's doing Vic, she's doing all the sound effects. She work on horror films. So long story short, so she's a Foley artist. She do sound effects for independent, low budget horror films, and then she gets a job doing a sound effect for this horror movie by this guy named Milo Kemp, who's like a controversial, independent, like low budget horror filmmaker or whatever. So one thing lead to another, and as she's creating the sound effects, all these things start coming into her reality, and then these strange things start happening within her reality and in the film. So it's a psychological horror film. We also created a bunch of different short films within the movie so she can create sound effects for. So we ended up making about 6 short films within the full length film. to create, yeah.
So you've almost created almost like an anthology at that point.
It's honestly, I call it a mockument because the movie goes and we created a fake documentary about Vic towards the beginning of the movie. So it's pretty much a mockumentary, anthology, psychological horror fiasco. So yeah,
I'm definitely curious. Now, on the topic of coming up with sound effects and everything, how well, I mean, unless there's like a script or it tells you what the director or producer wants.
Yeah.
If you get free reign for that, how do you come up with those types of things? Like to fit the part.
Yeah, as far as when I wrote the script was not as detailed as a normal script would be. Like the movie's going to be about 100 minutes long. So usually, on average, is like a one script is accumulated to 1 minute a page, so they say. So the script is not really that long. The script's only 35 pages. So a lot of things that we did was when everybody showed up and did their part, I kind of talked them through like things they need to do. So the person playing Vic, Amanda Winston, who also in my first movie Evil Lurks, she plays the lead character. So when she was doing sound effects, like toward looking at the screen and doing sound effects, there was things that there was things she just did, for the sake of the movement of what the movie she's looking at is. But the secret is she wasn't looking at a movie. It was just a matter of her doing it, and then we created the movie. So it was the power of editing. It was the power of like the way the movie was going to be edited for everything to kind of gel. So the script was more of a blueprint of like how we want to kind of create it, and especially when we did the documentary segment. We had some things in dialogue, but we wanted to keep it as organic as possible. And I think that kind of helped guide the authenticity of the film. It's a movie. It's a horror movie, and there's a bunch of different levels of the horror movie. But I think, and you know what, actors like that. I mean, actors like that when the director knows what he's trying to convey. So that gives them free reign and kind of like open up. But working with actors that you've worked with before, and you have an understanding with them, it helps that they understand where you're coming from with the concept. So when we was creating everything, there was a form, there was a balance of what needed to happen, but it was also a sense of just kind of letting it be loose and creating. We got a bunch of junk and put it in a studio and just started making noise with it, and yeah. So
see, and you mentioned the authenticity and the organic feel and everything of creating the film. And honestly, personally, going to watch movies and everything, it seems like a lot of movies are just forced out there nowadays. It doesn't have the organic feel to it.
Yeah.
Do you feel that that's a key point missing in a lot of productions nowadays? And do you have any, let's say your top 3 favorite movies that have an organic feel to it from start to finish?
Well, I guess it. You know what? Honestly, I think it just depends. Depends on the movie. I knew with Vic Effects, I knew this movie was gonna have a lot more looseness to it. Just because of how. I think the movie is unorthodox. It's not a typical like horror film. Like we created these different little films that had we had a folk horror concept, we had a sci-fi horror concept, we had a slasher concept, and then with Vic creating the sound effects and stuff like that, it was just it's kind of hard to pinpoint like if any other movie could have still had that same kind of organic. Some movies when you watch, I mean, because I'm in the DIY low budget, micro budget film world, so I can't really. There's only so much I can say about Hollywood type films, but when I look at these type films, and I see a lot of films, like we're gonna do the Jason camp, camp type movies, or we're gonna do a guy with a mask, a guy with a mask, or people in the woods and stuff like that. And there's like a formulaic type vibe that goes into that kind of feel. So I don't want to come off like, I'm different, man. I'm making a difference. But it is a different kind of movie. Now, it could benefit me or it couldn't because it's not something that, people are used to. But as far as like the authenticity of films, I guess a lot of it depends on just like the vibe of it. Because some people go, okay, this is what the vibe is. Like, this is how we're making a movie. But I've also seen, especially with low budget filmmakers, I see different types of filmmakers trying to mix a little bit, trying to mix things up here and there. I don't see a lot of them doing that, but I mean, some filmmakers they do stuff with the movie and then they have a music background. And then some of the stuff have a music video feel to it as well, with how they flow with the edit and all these things. But I mean, it's a lot. It's so many horror movies out now, so it's just kind of like I guess it just depends. I don't know if I gave you the right answer, but
no, and that's the thing. The question was pretty open ended. Because when it comes to basically making movies or anything like that, the most I know is just shooting music videos, being a part of it. And the main music video my band has done before was our cover of Truth Hurts. When it came down to like an actual story for it, we didn't know what we were doing. We kind of just threw whatever. So when it comes down to like the originality and, organic authenticity, it's interesting to hear from your perspective being a creator, especially when it comes to the horror industry, which it doesn't matter if it's a micro budget, a B list, or, like Terrifier right now that's completely killing it. The horror genre I've always felt is more of a preference as well as whoever is writing it. It doesn't have to follow the rom-com. You know what I mean? So that's why I was curious about how your mind perceives it, but how does your mind go into making these ideas as well?
Well, this is the beauty because I think my mind kind of goes in different realms. Even the way I compose music, because I also compose most of my music. Most of my friends are musicians, so they help me compose. Like if I need to create found sounds and make some weird atmospheric stuff, I can do stuff like that. Or if I need a guitar player or a cello player, I call on my friend Dave or him to do guitar and all that stuff. So I can do like different things when it comes to like that vibe. But it's just like as being a musician, I like mixing things up. Like I was in a metal band for 11 years and I played trumpet in that band. So that usually don't put those two things together.
See, now I'm gonna have to pause really quick. What metal band was that so I can look them up later?
So we're on Spotify, so you can look us up. We're called Stuck. The band was called Stuck Underwater.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we broke up. We was around in 2005, and then we broke up in 2016. So we was around for a while.
I was like 2000
now. Yeah, it's more. I'm sorry.
2015 was about the time like my band was starting to actually get on to shows and get out to places and everything like that. So I was like, man, maybe we crossed paths before. Nope, we did not.
Oh.
But I will have to look that up because I'm interested to hear trumpet with metal.
Yeah, and I wasn't the best. I hit a couple of notes and then some distorted guitar was around it. It was just, it was like I love jazz, and I was like, I'm in this band, and let's see if I can incorporate something with that. And then sometimes I'll pick it up with my new we're not a new band because we've been around for 12 years, but my other band that's more upbeat, like fun. We call our music smile rock, very uplifting, positive. Invisible cartoon, so I got the logo right here. So very like bright and just like, but we're still a rock band. We're still loud. We can still like, oh man, you guys are, I still have that vocal palette of a metal singer on top of doing soul music and then doing hip hop and all the different shit that I like. But as far as like the whole vibe of like how I create, man, the beauty of horror, man, there's really not a lot of rules in horror, in my opinion. I think you can get away with a lot. Like you said, when you make a rom-com, you're making a rom-com. When you make a horror, you can put a rom-com in a horror movie. You could put a suspense thriller. You could put an action movie in a horror movie. You could put comedy in a horror movie. You could put drama in a horror movie. You could put all those different elements. I mean, fucking Idle Hand could be a rom-com. Remember that movie?
I do not want to talk about Idle Hand right now because I'm hearing they're making a remake, and I'm not happy with it because all that pops in my head are 2 lines from that movie. The first one, "Go Buffalo," and the other one, Seth Green, "Look at me, I'm Leatherface." You know, I watched that movie repeatedly.
So I did too.
And to hear that they might be making a remake, a reboot, remake, whatever, it's like, please don't touch it.
Dude, I'm telling you, they're in a room. They have a list of movies. They're like, all right, we're gonna remake this. We're gonna remake this. We're gonna remake this. Because and people like, do they have any original ideas? I said, I think a lot of people got original ideas. The problem is if they got something that people are familiar with, they're gonna bring that back. I mean, like remakes. I mean, is more apparent now than it's ever been. But remakes hasn't been something that just started. Whatever. No. Little Shop of Horror was a remake. The Blob was a remake. The Fly was a remake. So I mean, yeah, it is what it is. So, but like I was saying though, with horror,
I'm gonna pull up a comment from Jake Thompson. Billy Madison too. I think it's too late for that.
Yeah, Billy Madison. Oh wait, is it Bill? Oh, I know they're doing a Happy Gilmore though.
Yes, they're apparently doing a Happy Gilmore too and a Billy Madison too.
I mean,
but you are right. Remakes have been around for a long time. I mean, and I guess
I'm all right. There's a lot more happening though.
Yeah, I'm all right with remakes if it's almost updating it to modern times.
Right.
And a prime example I had for that, you look at the original House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price.
Well, yeah.
Compared to the remake they released.
Right.
Completely different storylines on that.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of like, hey, we're gonna name the movie House. I mean, they remade Psycho, and that was a while back when they did that. And it was I think to me that was blasphemy because it's just like,
oh yeah,
you can't remake that. You can't remake that movie. But
now, what mentioning Psycho and everything, how'd you feel about what was it, Bates Motel or whatever the TV show they did? Like,
I never watched the TV show.
I saw 1 or 2 episodes and I'm like, all right, this ain't too bad, but I think I'm going to come back to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like watching the Hannibal series that, Hannibal, whatever it was or whatever, based on like, it's like, yeah, it's good and all, but I don't know. I feel kind of wrong watching this, All right. So back to Vic Effects and everything. Yeah. When can people expect a release for it?
Well, we're still in post-production. Actually, we have a Indiegogo. We started shooting last year, so we're in post-production. So, money was getting a little tight and we wanted to do some more extra things in post-production. So we have an Indiegogo. If anyone look up Vic Effects on Indiegogo, we got a crowd fund. We got probably like 30 hours left on the crowd fund. And we're raising some money to do all the post-production stuff. And one of the things that we're gonna do is put it in movie theaters. So we're gonna get it mixed in 5.1 and 7.1 surround sound. So we're gonna try to get do some screenings and stuff. So the goal is to try to have it out by spring. I don't know how everything's gonna navigate as far as distribution and how all those things gonna fly, but from the control I have of it, I'm hoping we do have the premiere in the spring.
All right. Well, I'll say once we're done here, send that link over. I will share it in a post on the TLC page as well as my Zero Facebook page as well.
Awesome.
That way we can get more word out about it. Yeah. And now you also mentioned that this is actually your second movie.
Yes.
What can you tell us about Evil Lurks?
So Evil Lurks is a psychological. I'm really into the psychological horror thing. People would call it an art house film too. And when I started working on videos and stuff like that, I with my band, I make our videos and edit. That's how I started editing. I started editing music videos. So that's how I kind of started out. So there's a couple of scenes in that movie that has a music video aspect to it. But Evil Lurks is about a woman named Kimberly, who's played by Amanda Winston, who's also the lead in Vic Effects. So we have a really good relationship working on stuff together. Kimberly, her character Kimberly, is someone who goes to a group therapy session because she had a lot of things happen in her life, dramatic things in her life, and seemed like things wasn't working out.
That's scary in its own right. Group therapy.
Well, yeah, it's definitely a supernatural horror film within the real world element. So it's definitely it definitely touches on pretty heavy things that's not just like monsters and stuff. There's mental health and miscarriages and sexual assault and just a lot of fucked up things. And then we kind of brought it into a kind of supernatural element. So I also play in the film. I co-wrote, co-directed, did all kinds of shit to this movie. I played the therapist, Harold, and we had the group therapy session, and then I singled Kimberly out, and then we decided to have a private session together and stuff like that. So when that happened, certain things started happening to her mind that took her to another realm of, fucked up things. So yeah, I don't play a good guy. I'm possessed by a dark entity known as the Shush Man, and I'm going into her mind and creating and all these dramatic things that happen in her life is kind of building up into another element of the real world and crazy things that's happening.
And you said it's available to watch on Tubi, correct?
Yeah, it's available to watch on Tubi. I also have the DVD. It's available. If anyone reaches out to me on Instagram or my Kiss and Castle Facebook page. So with that, we have the movie and the soundtrack. The soundtrack is not available on Spotify. So if you want the full score of the movie, I have that available as well. So I just have copies, and then I'll ship them out. But if you want to watch it for free, you can watch it on Tubi TV, and it's a psychological horror film. It's wild, but that's my first film.
So with that, with having one movie out, about to release another one, I guess the big question at this point is, how long have you been involved in, I guess, the movie production game, and what ultimately, inspired you to get into it?
Well, I wrote my first short film. It was a buddy comedy. It's somewhere on YouTube. This is how funny this movie was, because this short film was, because we wrote it like the day after we was drinking on a Tuesday, and then we wrote a movie, and it was funny. And then we used the F word so many times, and that was our trailer for the movie. It's called Norfolk Don't Spit on Seagulls, and yeah, it was. So we did this in 2011. So that's the first time I got into writing and working on stuff like that. And then, like I said, I was doing music videos, and then I got more serious about doing video editing and stuff like that around 2016, when I had my hands on software, and I just YouTube's been my school. So I've learned everything that I've done, with production, is I learned on YouTube, and I was just making stuff, and then I was making sure I was getting jobs doing boom mic operating, working on sound design and stuff like that, and then finally around the end of 2018 towards 2019, started working on Evil Lurks, and it took us 3 years. So we started in 2019. released it, did the premiere in 2022, and then put it on, and then it got on Tubi TV in 2023. So about a 4 year span from 2009 to 2023 of getting that movie done. And yeah, man, I mean, it's a low budget film, and we had 14 locations, 29 actors. We only paid $1,000 to make the movie. So,
and you know what, low budget films and everything, it's always a great way to start. And you never know, we've seen low budget films over the last 15, 20 years overperform than what you're expecting,
right?
So with that being the case, how did Tubi come to pick it up? Was it like you submitting to it, or did someone reach out to you?
Well, well, the one thing that's so amazing about being a filmmaker nowadays, there's no gatekeeping. You don't have to worry about going to a distributor and stuff like that. And we shopped it around here and there, but it's this company. I think they're more of an aggregator more than a distribution company. This company called Film Hub. So pretty much, if you Film Hub, you can just submit your stuff to them. You go through the QR, quality control, QC quality control. If everything fits, they'll take your movie, get a certain percentage of it, and then they'll shop it around to different streaming services.
All right.
And yeah, Tubi picked ours up, and we got lucky with that. And yeah, that's pretty much how it had for the most. I don't know if it's as easy now than it was even a year ago, because Tubi's changed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's gonna be up there until somebody take it down. I mean, you can upload your movie on Amazon, Amazon Video. I mean, on Amazon Video. Was it Prime Video?
Yeah.
I mean,
see, and that's the thing, like, my background is mainly music, and I know there are sites that, you basically do the same thing. You submit your music, they distribute it, away you go.
Yeah.
I was curious if, like, for independent films, if that's the same way they go about it now, especially with the internet being how it is. It's, so vast, and there's, well, like you said, learning everything off YouTube. You have an endless source of knowledge right at your fingertips.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, I have a folder full of tutorials on how to do things, and there it's not. I mean, it's still a lot of work, but it's not difficult to make music videos anymore. It's not difficult to make movies anymore. You got the right setup and some cameras. You can the typical. You use your camera phone to make anything. I made a music video for my buddy, and I needed a third camera, and I just took his cell phone. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna put this right here." I mean, people acting like cell phones are cheap. I'm like, this is a $1,000 cell phone. Cool. This shoots HD. This shoots 4K. Boom. Right here. I'm gonna set up cameras. Yeah, man. So yeah, I mean, it's I'm not gonna say we got the hook. I mean, we pass all the credentials that they need to do, and then it's out there. So the cool thing is out there. Like, people can watch the movie if they want to, and whatever. So yeah.
Well, more than likely after this, I'll probably go check out Evil Lurks, because I've got nothing else to do for the rest of the night.
Dude, yeah,
so
man. Check it out. Yeah, check it out. Let me know. Yeah, like I said, if you into trippy ass mind fuck type movies,
that's just what I need before going to sleep. Trust me.
Yes. and if you dislike me at the end of that movie, I did my job, because like I said, my character is not a good person. So
all right, I'll keep that.
Like, Chris, man, you dark, and I didn't like you in that movie. I was like, yeah, I mean, yeah, unfortunately I had to,
I will have to keep that in mind. But you know what? You seem like a pretty cool person to me. I just may not like your character. That's all that matters.
Yeah, no, it's all, hey, man, that's what I'm saying. I like acting when it's convenient for me. I'm not gonna be going out doing auditions and stuff, but it made sense for me to be in. Once you see the movie, it made sense for me to be in the movie. Also, if you see I play the villain, I play the dark entity Shush Man, which we never mentioned his name. And if you see crazy shadows roaming around, bouncing around, That was me in my tidy whities in a green screen. and when you don't have a budget, how do you create monsters? Make shadows.
Exactly. And you got a point there, because most kids growing up, their first monster they experience
is shadow.
It's just a shadow of something.
Yep. And that's kind of when you see, I mean, it's kind of dark and you can't really see it, but like when you see the picture and you see the shadow behind her,
I can see it.
That's kind of the whole vibe. I mean, it's like what's lurking in the shadows. And
very nice.
It's it's very, I tell people you should see it twice, because there's a lot of Easter eggs all around. There's literally shadows and images on walls that, if you don't see it for that split second, there's a meaning to it. Like some of the stuff is like, oh shit, he just gave it away, right? I'm just saying it now because it's been.
But now I'm be looking everywhere like.
Oh no, look, man, yeah. So I'm giving you the heads up, but yeah, man,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I compose all the music and with help with my friends and stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm there. I definitely get locked in with that. I like working with musicians as well when I compose.
Music, speaking of music and everything, you said you are currently in a band that I didn't know about, Invisible Cartoons, correct?
Yes.
All right. First and foremost, where can I find that music? Is there music released at the moment, or are you working on that?
Yeah, so we've been around since 2012. So we put out our first full length album, and then we put out another album, put out another EP back in 2019. So we've been working on our second full length album now. So you can find us on Spotify, Invisible Cartoons. Go to invisiblecartoons.com. Invisiblecartoons.com, and you can see what we got. We also got sorry about that.
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah,
this was an off the wall topic. So
we also got vinyl. This is Space Cat. So this is our second EP, and then this is our first album. This is called Characters. So it's like kid versions of us watching our adult versions. So yeah, so we call our music smile rock. It's very upbeat. It's not, people think, oh, is it like Sesame Street? Like, no, it's still rock music. It's still got elements of funk and punk and soul and it gets heavy. It gets, it's super danceable. We hit different realms. We spew positivity and fun, and you still bang your head and dance and have a good time and stuff like that. So
now I'm gonna have to hit you up. You just had to say you had a vinyl, and literally I started collecting vinyl within the last year.
Oh,
and it's become a point where it's like I'm looking back behind me or whatever. Luckily, my background you can't see.
Yeah.
I'm looking and I'm like, I got room over there. Yeah, I got room. I got room. And, and the funny part about it is with vinyl and everything is that I've got one section that is for because right now it's broken down into 3 sections, but I've got one section that's for like all the classic rock I have.
Yeah.
I have another one that's for like the modern age, like punk rock, metal, stuff like that. And then basically I've got a section that is for soundtracks and any underground local artist or anyone I meet throughout my travels and everything like that. So I'm gonna have to hit you up after this to figure out how to get a vinyl from you.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. What soundtracks do you have?
Oh God. Well, I know I've got the Purple Rain soundtrack back there.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, of course. You gotta have that.
I've got the Purple Rain soundtrack for my birthday this year.
Yeah.
I got 2 different variants of Evangelion Genesis because I like anime.
Yeah.
And then Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop.
Which all jazz and everything like that. It's like I haven't played that one yet because that's one of those like Saturday night got nothing going on. I just want to enjoy it.
Yeah. Cowboy Bebop. That music. It's unfortunate that the live action didn't work out, but
if I've learned anything about Netflix and live actions, it never goes well.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, the movement of that show is
well, apparently the creator of Cowboy Bebop, I guess he has another anime that's about to come out very soon. And from the art style and everything like that, it looks very similar. And I can only hope the soundtrack is just as good.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, music, and that's, I mean, one of the things that I love about, creating, making, visuals and then making music. I mean, it goes hand in hand. It's like
It does.
creating like a lot of things that I try, because when you make a music video, you have the music and you have the music set in there, then you put the visuals and you put that on top of the music to kind of bounce into.
Mm-hmm.
And I still do that when I edit. When I create a piece of music, I'm always trying to dance with the visual
Yep.
of making a movie, that scene with the music. And yeah, I think that's just, to me, it's so important. And one of my favorite filmmakers, his name is John Adams. Look them up. He got a movie on he have a Tubi exclusive, like Tubi bought his movie.
Wow.
He got, so he got a movie called Where the Devil Roams, Hellbender, and The Deeper You Dig. And he's a DIY filmmaker, and he's a musician as well. And he creates all the, he's like me as far as like he shoots, he edits, he scores, he does all the stuff, mostly on his own or whatever. So he's a musician and he does all his music. And like what he does musically with his music to go with his films, I mean, it's like a match made in heaven or hell.
See, and and you touch base on it, music, movies, or any visual.
Yeah.
Essentially with the music, you're telling a story.
Yes.
And if you're not going to convey that in a visual way, part of the meaning may be lost.
Right.
Because I'm sure you've seen music videos or even just movies where, yeah, the soundtrack's good, but it's not conveying what you're trying to get across all the way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I try to do that, with the stuff, stuff I try to do. Even when I've gotten hired to do short films for people when they wanted me to do music and movies, just trying to have that balance and stuff like that. And I'm really, I'm really into atmosphere. Like when it comes to like when if you decide whenever you watch Evil Lurks, it's atmosphere. And a lot of the stuff that I did was fine. I found like it was found sounds, just like sounds that I recorded. Cause I work at a print shop, so I'm always like hearing things going on, and I'll use my recorder and record it, and then put it into Pro Tools and cut it up and distort it and create, different layers and different movements and stuff like that, man. Like one of the scenes, which is kind of fucked up, but one of the scenes, and I'll tell you, it was a scene where the lead character Kimberly, she had a miscarriage, and it was these sounds and stuff like that. So it was like it was some cello playing backwards mixed with crying babies in the mix, but played backwards and distorted and down tuned because it kind of come off, she's having a miscarriage, things like that. So that was kind of playing into the
situation at hand.
Yeah, the situation and the emotions and stuff like that. But yeah, I always, mess around with that emotion from the music with the visual. I think
See, and that takes a level of creativity that I don't think many possess, or they don't realize they possess, because as you said, you're taking random noises, mixing it with music, but also going in fully editing it, and making it something completely different.
Yeah.
That's a level of artistry that I could say for a fact I do not understand at all.
No,
I know how to sing and play guitar, and that's about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of things that everything is about my instincts. If my brain falls apart, then I'm screwed. But it's just like these are just kind of divides. But I'm also not a person who like I need to stay away from watching movies and doing this and that because they'll take away from my creativity. And I'm like, no, I'm inspired, man. I love to be inspired. Like if I don't watch movies, I probably still watch, after I put my kids to bed, I go down in my studio and work on stuff. But I still probably need to watch at least 3 movies a week. Cause I'm like, watch something. That's my therapy. I need to, and now then I'll get inspired. And I'm really into like the type of movies that I'm into when we talk about different horror movies, I really like French horror movies, Japanese horror. So I like reading subtitles, but something about those movies is a look. They're playing in a different ball field than what the Americans are doing. And with Vic Effects, there is a bunch of movies that inspired. If you ever heard of the movie, if you ever heard of the movie Martyrs, I know it's an American version, but the French version, Martyrs and Inside. Those are the two movies that really inspired movements of what I was doing, what I wanted to do with Vic Effects. It's not extreme as those movies are, and what I did, what I'm doing with Vic Effects, but those movies inspired me.
Well, that's even like mentioning, foreign, just really any genre of foreign movie, but sticking with the horror aspect.
Yeah.
You look at the movies that have been brought to America, have been adapted and everything.
Yeah.
And then you go back and watch, like, for example, The Grudge. All right.
Yeah.
And you go back and watch the original Japanese version it's based off of. And it's just like, oh, okay. This is not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah.
And is it a matter? And I guess it depends on the culture as well.
Yeah.
But is it a matter that when a movie is brought from a foreign country and adapted to, I guess, an American standard?
Yeah.
Is it because... Actually, no, I'm about to answer my own question. But anyway, I was going to say in regards to just is it a cultural difference that they have to edit some of the content, or is it just because they're afraid of what the actual original story is?
Oh, as far as the American version?
Yes.
I mean, honestly, man, shit. I mean, we're on social media a lot, so we know people are very fucking sensitive. I just think people are a little bit more sensitive in this country when it comes from certain things. If you see, you watch the movie Martyrs and you watch Inside, those movies, like, put that on your list, Martyrs and Inside. Check those.
The original versions, not the American versions.
Okay. I tried to watch the American version. I was like, nah, I can't do this because why?
It was watered down. What would you call it? Watered down?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more. It's definitely a lot more. I want to say polished, because I think these movies are also beautiful looking and it's very well made. But I just think there's a certain formula when it comes to when you remake. Now, I will say I enjoy The Ring, the American version of The Ring, a lot more than the Japanese version.
So, funny story about The Ring. All right. Yeah. It's based on a book series. I believe there's 3 or 4 books of it. Mm-hmm. And someone very close to me has, I believe, read 2, if not 3 of the 4.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking hated it. Because I don't exactly remember everything that was said, but let's just say I think by the end of the second book, it's a complete cop-out and does like a whole 180 shift to where it's like, what the fuck am I reading?
Yeah.
So it's probably good the movie stopped after 2.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think the Japanese, I think they did 3 of them.
Okay.
Those movies came out in the late 90s. So I think they did. I saw the first one and I thought it was good, but I liked them. But that's probably one of the movies that, I like the original version. I mean, I like the remake more than I like the original version. But for the most part, I mean, they don't hold back. They don't hold back in type of stuff that they do. And I appreciate that.
Well, that's like I was having a conversation with someone because, we mentioned the Terrifier series.
Oh, yeah.
Earlier on. And how there was the whole reports, people are throwing up. They're leaving in the first 10 minutes. This, all that. And then you come to find out it's the people in France. Yeah. And it's like, okay, why is this? Well, as someone explained to me, over here, gore and graphic content like that, that's candy to us. Like,
yeah.
We see it. We unfortunately see it every day on the news.
Yeah.
But you go over to Europe, their content, that's something they're not used to. However, when it comes to, like the sexual content,
Yeah.
they're more used to that. Like the example was, like the girl with the dragon tattoo.
Right.
But then you bring that over here and it gets watered down because it's hard for people over here to stomach, I guess, which I get it. It's a terrible thing to begin with.
Yeah.
But graphic nature is graphic nature, no matter which way you slice it.
Yeah, which is weird because especially in the horror genre, the French are nuts. The stuff that they put out is they in like the early 2010s. French Extremity. Yeah, it's like from like 2002 to 2010. They had some brutal stuff, man. And
do you think it's a matter of like, I hate to say it, but like tastefulness, I guess they're looking for more of a classy gore. Like,
yeah, I mean, like honestly, like when I look at when I look at the Terrifier movies, and then and the last one has some extraness, and them bones and that the guts looked a little bit extra juicy because they had a little bit more money to spend with that stuff. I mean, like it's interesting because I was watching an Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, because that's my all-time favorite Jason movie. And when I was watching it, I was like, damn. And I was 7 years old when I saw that movie. I was like, man, this is shit compared to what's going on right now. I'm like, this is not bad compared to the shit that I watch.
And that's like I told someone, as I said, I have before we started, I said I had a 9-year-old daughter, everything like that.
Yeah.
She hasn't been introduced to much of the horror aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, I took her to her first haunted corn maze this year.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm proud of her. She made it through 2 of the rooms, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But it came to a point where she was done. I carried her the rest of the way because in a corn maze, there is no emergency exit. For anyone listening, in a corn maze, there is no emergency exit. Once you're in, you're in. Anyway, so I carried her through the rest of it, everything like that. And, I was talking to her mother about it. And I'm like, growing up, like, the first horror movie I can remember seeing was Scream 2.
Yeah.
All right. And the first kill scene, that kind of screwed me up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I watched the entire thing, And then after that, I can remember Jeepers Creepers, which that one just,
I mean,
my brain was kind of blown at that one.
Yeah.
That one did cause a little bit of night terrors, I would say.
Oh,
but then I went and watched the original Friday the 13th. And I'm like, I looked at my dad and my son, I'm like, you guys were afraid of this? and you see the changes of the time, I guess you could say, in regards to what's allowed compared to then, as well as the overall quality of the movie based on the funding.
Right.
Also, special effects have come a long way.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting because I think The Thing to me is the all-time best practical effects horror movie ever. Mm-hmm. That and The Fly. So if you still go into those realms of practical effects and all that stuff and put that in today, I think those movies are timeless. Those movies stand up, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I mean, And I'm to a fault. Like we try to do as much practical effects stuff as we did for Evil Lurks. There's a couple of scenes where we had to use some CGI blood, which I hate to do, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, special effects come a long way. But damn, man, like watch like Beat From Beyond and Reanimator. You still look at
Reanimator is phenomenal.
I was still give me that again. Give me those things. I'll take that. If I can make stuff like that for a movie that I'm working on and get that kind of vibe, that shit was fucking wild. It was still amazing. Toxic Avenger, that fucking movie. I forgot how fucking gross that movie was. And it's a horror comedy.
Yeah, it's a horror comedy, and the guy's a hero, which goes back into the whole. You could fit anything in the horror, as a subgenre.
Yeah.
You know.
So I like building things and making puppets instead of using fucking computer generated whatever, man. It's just something about that.
Well, with you mentioning puppets and everything, one of my favorite series, which a lot of people look at me and like, those movies aren't scary. I'm like, no, but they're badass. Puppet Master.
Oh yeah. One of the actors in my movie, he's in Evil Lurks, Bill D. Russell. He's in Puppet Master Dr. Death. So that's
really
a movie. Yeah. So he's in the first 5 minutes of that movie. But he's kind of blowing up a little bit with like, oh, you was in the Muppet Master movie. Yeah, they made the movie does. The 30 years.
I lost count after 9. I know there's 9 out there, but that's not including like Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys and talking about movies that take a complete shift of tone and storyline. That's probably a very big prime example because you go to the first 4 of them, it's like, okay, this all makes sense. And then, hey, we're going to go fight the Nazis. What?
Yeah.
Like, who came up with that idea?
Yeah. It's absurd right now.
And the best part about it is, even though it's like they came up with the idea, it sounds completely asinine and ridiculous, but they tied it into where it's like, it all makes sense now. Oh, jeez. But anyway, real quick before we go back to Invisible Cartoons and everything, when's your guys' next show? Where do you normally play out of? Are you guys on social media and all that fun stuff?
Yeah. So we're mainly on Instagram and Facebook. Just look up Invisible Cartoons. We just played a show in Dixon, Illinois.
There's actually a venue in Dixon?
Yeah, it's a small bar called Val's Place. Where are you located?
Joliet.
Okay,
cool. Born and raised.
Yeah, so we played a Drunken Donut, and I'm assuming you know that spot.
Mm-hmm. My band will be there. My band will be there December 14th.
Cool, man. Shit. Yeah, see if I can check that out. But that's how I met Roy. I met Roy. We played a show back in August. At that spot. So we played a show in Dixon, Illinois. At the rate we're going, we like to book out. We like to try to. I'm already booking shows for next year. Everybody's got other projects. I'm doing my film stuff. Everybody got other projects as well with the band. I mean, the band is super important in what we do, but our Google Calendar is important to kind of make sure everybody's locked in with things. At this rate, we probably not plan anymore for the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. We're gonna be working on the album. So the album, we're putting out the album next year. So hopefully it should be around spring. The name of the album is gonna be called Sci-Fi Disco Carnival. Okay. So we're kind of coming up with this kind of whole carnival theme and just like this whole atmosphere about the stuff that we're doing. And so as of right now, we're just kind of we played a really good show last week, and we're just gonna be working on this record, man. So
all right.
Yeah. So
I will definitely be plugging that as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
As I said, I didn't know you were a part of a band or anything like that, so it's like, oh shit, we could have, okay. Well, next time we come on.
If you want to have us on sometime next year, when the album
of course,
man, that'll be super awesome. We just did a podcast with the band. I did a podcast with the band last week, so we're gonna be out here promoting, and I'm gonna be promoting my movie, promoting the album. Just getting out there and getting the word out.
Well, then at that point, we'll try to figure out some time for next spring and everything. Go on, see what's going with Vic Effects. Now, here, final question for you. All right. Do you have another movie project in your head?
If
you do, you don't have to give away what it's about, obviously, but if I'm curious, is there something that's coming after?
Yes. We'll most likely be in production. I'm hoping by spring for this next project. It's actually counter to is pretty much so I'm creating the Vic Effects universe. So
Okay.
I'm building my own Marvel. So the movie, all the movies that you see in Vic Effects that she's doing sound effects for, we didn't fully flesh them out in this movie, because we did, it would have been 2 hours long. So the way we got it set up is she's doing sound effect. It cuts to her doing sound effect, preparing for the sound effect. Then it cut into the movie with the full on vibe of the movie. It'll cut back and forth. So that's how the movie is set up with Vic Effects. So what we're doing now is we're gonna fully flesh out the full edit of the film and film extra stuff. And then I'm going to create a horror host type atmosphere, someone hosting a show presenting the movie. So like a Joe Bob Briggs meets Elvira.
I gotcha.
Mostly Joe Bob Briggs kind of vibe. And she's going to be introducing, it'll be a she, and she's going to be introducing those movies. So that's going to be connected to the Vic Effects universe. And then within all of that, we're going to be creating the short films and also start creating feature films from those short films. And then, so I got like a 3-year plan of what I'm trying to build up. So I'm trying to, and within one of those films that's in Vic Effects, I'm trying to create an IP. So I'm trying to create my own Jason Freddy kind of vibe. And her name is, and the character's name is Redface. So she has a
very
red
nice.
on. Yeah. So
very nice.
So yeah, so everything is all connected to Vic Effects. Vic Effects is not just, Vic Effects. It's not just a movie. It's
setting up for something more.
Yes, it's like I'm creating this is phase 1. This is my phase 1 of whatever. So I'm creating this atmosphere. So like the next 3 years is kind of everything.
Very nice.
So yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see it. I wish you the best in your success. And as I said, we will meet up again sometime in the spring.
Hell yeah.
At which point, Chris, thank you again for being on the other side of the mic tonight. You have a wonderful rest of your evening.
You too, man. Peace, y'all.
All right. And on that note, we're out.